boys and girls, this is Saturday, TA in Pennsylvania, and I'm looking at the sign in the distance. Diesel is 361 credit or 355 cash, and I don't want to pay that much, but I'm very low on fuel, below 1/4 of a tank here on the primary gauge, and yeah, I'm below 1/4 on the secondary gauge, so that means that I don't think I have enough. It'll start beeping somewhere. From here it's about 80 miles to Buffalo, and the plan is to drop the trailer, and I don't want to do it today. Tomorrow I'll bobtail somewhere to a small station. I think I can find something like 340, 345. It's like 10 miles west. There's a Walmart and stuff. But now I just want to show you how I'm dropping this trailer. It's pretty much the same procedures with the regular trailer, except this one has hydraulic legs, you know. And it's very cold outside. Not very, but the blue sky is really deceptive, you know. All right, so first I want to open. I'm gonna open the locks, because I want to drop the suspension, and sometimes what happens is that they get stuck, and you cannot open them. All right, so now they open. All right. Now we can pull the brakes on the trailer. Let's go see if sometimes the handles go back in. No, we're good. All right. So now we can unlock this. Otherwise, if you don't pull that red button, once you disconnect this, you'll have a lot of air hitting you in the face. All right. So what we do now, step number 2 or 3. We stop this handy motor. Now we have to drop these legs over here, and so the engine is on one side, but the legs over there, and the controls are here. You see, there's diagrams, but I'm mostly concerned about these two, right? Look, these two control those. This one controls that one, and this one controls this one. see that? It's moving down. All right, that should be enough. And I'll just try to slide forward. Slide forward a bit till I hear that click, you know. Get locked, you know. Everything is open. Probably need to raise it more. It's never easy when there's so much weight. There you go. I knew it. It was a lot of weight. All right. We are cooking with gas. So now we can raise it more until it clears up, so I can, you know, get from under it without any damage. We should be good. And that's how it's done. And I need to drop it because, like, even if I wanted to get fuel over here, it's now we put the air back, right? And I'll just park next to it. So yeah, there's not enough room in there to go with this thing to get fuel, like even here at TA, you know. All right, we'll just stop here. Beautiful. Now we can go and shut down the super powerful Honda motor. When they were loading, they ran out of gas. So that's the one thing we're doing. And tomorrow I'll need to replace the sign in the back. Check this out. It's just about to come off. Brand new sign. This is the first time I'm using, right? And because I did it like this, see on the other side it's over here. No, it's not touching But here I didn't realize they would cut it like that, you know. So if I start driving like this tomorrow, it's not gonna even last till the border with Canada. Oh boy. Expenses, expenses, expenses. Oh, and I had to buy 2 more flags. And speaking about expenses, that's the topic of today's video. We're gonna talk about, some people were asking me about what these loads are paying, but we're not gonna talk about that because lots of people don't understand what's involved here. Okay, we're recording? Yes, we're recording. So lots of people don't realize what's involved in doing this stuff. Some guy's taking his pet for a walk. The pet is thinking, my truck. I don't need this in this frigid Arctic weather. By the way, the most important thing in trucking, at least heavy haul trucking, is always have your GoPro fully charged. And I'm using this one, so I have 2, right, a spare. So I'm recording this with my GoPro number 1 because I found out this one was almost empty as far as the battery was concerned. So now we're just plugging it into a 12 volts with this handy adapter, right? And all it takes a couple of hours. And before I talk about expenses, I just wanted to mention that some people are confused about this ticket business. First of all, I never got a ticket in Kentucky, okay? Kentucky sent me on the top part of the parking lot. They said, get a new permit. Don't leave until you get a new permit. And so I paid, of course, that's another $60, but there was no ticket, right? And I wanted to upgrade my Ohio ticket because I was afraid something like that would happen, what happened yesterday. But I said, you know, because some states, they allow you to upgrade your permit with minimum or no charge. You know, you can just change something, right, on the permit. But Ohio is not one of those states. And so my permit company told me that they would the state would charge them the entire, I think it was $232, you know. And I said, forget it. But anyway, never accept a ticket without a fight, okay? So I'm gonna fight it. They have a right to write tickets, we have a right to defend ourselves. Now, speaking about expenses, right? Permits and escorts. This also includes the estimate to the bridge because the guy is coming Monday to escort me. And I didn't pay them anything yet, so it's the same company, the same pilot, the same guy, Bill, that you heard me talking. He started working with me in Walton, Iowa. And so estimating that $1.55 per mile, what they charge, right, these pilots. Before it was like $1.50, $1.45. I think I paid $1.45 in where, in Tennessee. But every state is different. But anyway, so I had to buy permits for Arkansas. Well, they're not like in a proper order, but Arkansas, Indiana, Kentucky, New York, Toll, New York, Ohio 1, Ohio 2 permits, Oklahoma, PA, Tennessee, and Kentucky number 2, right? And so all these permits without the service fees, because I don't get them directly from the states, I use a permit service company, right, which charges me a fee for each permit. I think it's about $22 US. So let's say I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's say 10 permits. So they'll charge me about $220, $230 in fees US. So I didn't even count that. But the permits themselves cost $1,844.44. And escorts, the 3 escorts I used, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and now this one for Kentucky, Indiana, Pennsylvania, New York, escorts are $1,511. So escorts and permits are $3,355, ladies and gentlemen, and that's US, right? So it's pretty expensive. Plus fuel. I was looking at my I have an app here that converts liters to, no, I don't need Celsius to Fahrenheit. Where's my fuel conversion? Here we go. It was US liters per, I think it was like 65 liters per 100 kilometers. Do you see the top number? 3 point, I don't know if it's reflective or not, or you can see it, but it's 65 liters per 100 kilometers is 3.62 miles per gallon. But then, of course, that was like when we were going through those big hills, huge hill. Then it became 60 liters, and that's 3.92. But I never saw it below 60. Basically, to be to do 4 miles per gallon, I'd have to see 58, and I never saw that. But it was somewhere around 60. So basically, let's say 4 miles a gallon. You know, that's pretty bad. You know, and that's expense number 2. So permits, escorts, high fuel consumption with heavy loads. That's my other thing, beeping. It's charging. Just letting me know that everything is cool. And then, okay, as I was saying in the last video, when you have an oversized, overweight load, you have to go into every open scale, right? You cannot bypass them, even if you have that pre-pass thing, you know. And of course, when you oversize, overweight, the chance of you getting a ticket is much higher, because much more things can go wrong, you know. Not just, you know, normally if you're just like a driving guy, right? So what can they give you a ticket for? Okay, brakes, lights, tires, right? They probably, rarely they would measure your spacings, you know, but here, that's, I think yesterday the guy also, like, I measured it myself, right? I didn't cheat about the width of this thing. I said 11.7, he found it was like 11.8 wide, like this machine. And then, but anyway, so it gives them a reason to pull your ticket, to make your permit, to make your permit void. And then, of course, once your permit is void, that means that you have no permit. So now you're traveling, like in my case, 52,000 pounds over the legal limit, and here's your ticket, right? But they can void the permit for anything, you know. They don't like your accident, they probably can void your ticket, your permit. But basically, it's all a money grabber, you know. But at least in my case, all these oversized, overweight tickets, it's just money, right? It's not a safety, you know, like I didn't have any loose chains or falling off wheels. It's a safety, I mean, it's not a safety issue, it's like a tax, you know. You want to drive here, you pay tax. So I'm thinking it's like a fund gathering, you know, to repaint the courthouse or to install, because their parking at that scale was super small. So we were sitting at the ramp, very dangerous location. They couldn't even park me and this other guy inside because we were too long. And so I'm guessing they're gathering money to build a bigger parking lot, and you know, the scale was really tiny. It only like one platform. It had trouble. The guy had trouble scaling 2 axles at a time, and so he had to do like what, 4 or 5 scalings to get my entire weight. So they need money for that. And of course, like, where do you get the money? Oh, Trucker SERGEI, come on over. So that's how it works. And that's what I'm trying to say, is that there's a lot of expenses with heavy haul, tickets, permits, escorts, you know. And that's why, of course, I'm still kind of like not 100% sure. Yeah, I want to get at least a stinger, you know, like to get a booster. But again, the longer you are, right, once you reach that 90 feet or like even over 80 feet in New York, you always have to get all these escorts and permits. As you can see, escorts are just $300 less than the permits. But especially when it's a long trip, like, I think if I was doing this, you know, with all these Jeeps and in boosters, like when you're 100 or 110 feet long, I would not do it for long distances, you know, because I think it's a very easy way to go broke, you know, like this one. Like from, let's say if I had a Jeep and a booster and I was doing like 110,000 pounds, I would never want to do it from Oklahoma 1,200 miles to Ontario. It's just too expensive, you know. But somewhere like I was just actually looking up a trip I did like a year ago for the same broker that I worked with in March for the previous load. I had that Caterpillar trencher, like a big old yellow thing. I think it was summer. I think it was like either August or July or something. And that was 90,000 pounds, but I had my 55-ton drop side drill, so we loaded that, and I was like 81 feet long, and so I had to use one rear escort. But this was just New York, you know. I picked this up in Ontario and took it to New York, and so the guy charged me, I think, like $350 or something, or $300, you know. But not $1,500, you know. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that if I were to get all these Jeeps and Stingers, then I would just stick to a few, you know, nearby states. And that's why guys that go to, let's say, to Baltimore from Ontario, they try to keep their length as short as possible, and they don't use tandem Jeeps. They try to get away with a 4-axle truck like mine and a single-axle Jeep, you know, and just a quad in the back. Because yeah, it's just too expensive, you know. And by the way it works, I asked this pilot guy, I said, how does it work? Like, who's charging me this $1.55? Is it your broker, and then you get a percentage? He says no. He says, I charge you $1.55, and then he says I pay the broker kind of like a commission, you know, like the broker takes his cut. But basically the guy who comes up with the rate is the actual escort, the pilot, you know, the pilot car, because they're all independent. And of course he wants to make money, I wants to make money, and so they don't do it for cheap as well, right? So that's what I wanted to mention. So yeah, so now we disconnected from the trailer. I can relax till the end of today, and then tomorrow I'll go find some cheap diesel. I'm gonna look up locations around here on Gas Buddy. And then Monday morning the pilot should come back for me, and we'll go to the border and cross and probably deliver. I don't need him in Ontario, because in Ontario I have a annual permit. I'm covered until like this length, and the width and the height and the weight, it's covered under my annual permit. And so I think I'm gonna deliver somewhere after lunchtime Monday, and probably I'll be paid Tuesday. Thanks for watching. Have a good weekend, boys and girls. Captain Sergei out.